subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Martin Infante. I'm from the Philippines, and I'm the founder and president of a TC organization called SELF. I'm also the president of the FTCA, which stands for the Federation of Therapeutic Communities in Asia. Now, that has to be said because the Federation, the FTCA, was formed in 2018 after the Asian Federation of Therapeutic Communities, or AFTC, as many of you have probably heard about, had become inactive for many, many years. Now, I think it'd be fair that I just say a few words about the AFTC in that regard. The AFTC was founded somewhere in the 1996 era. I had become a member of that organization since, and it was with the Thais have held that organization for many, many years. So many years that I think around 2010, we worked in getting it transferred to another country, right? And at that time, we were able to transfer it to a colleague of mine in the Philippines. So it got transferred to us for a couple of years. It also stayed there inactive for many years. And then we were able to get an election going and transfer that to Malaysia, where it again sat for many years. So during a WFTCA meeting in Bangkok in November 2017, the Executive Council withdrew the recognition of the FTC, and WFTC President Sushma Taylor asked then WFTC Second Vice President Father Lamberto Somar of Kasimulia Foundation Indonesia, and actually my wife Joy Infante of SELF Philippines, to take the lead in forming a new organization. In March 2018, the first organizational meeting was held in Manila, Philippines, attended by 4 leading Asian TCs: Kasimulia Foundation of Indonesia, Mitro Movement, led by Reverend Bodhi of Sri Lanka, Shafa Home of India, and SELF of Philippines. The proceedings were facilitated by WFTC International Concerns Committee Chairperson, at the time Phaidon Kalotarakis of Greece, and a fellow board member of mine, SELF board member consultant Anthony Pavia. The name Federation of Therapeutic Communities in Asia, FTCA, was agreed upon together with a logo and letterhead design. In that same meeting, the vision and mission statement and constitution were drafted. Second organizational meeting was held in Manila to plan for the first General Assembly to be held in Bangkok in October 2018. During that General Assembly, the mission and vision statement and constitution were ratified. The following founding members were elected to the Executive Council: myself as President, Reverend Bodhi Thero of Sri Lanka as Vice President, Father Lamberto Somar of Indonesia as Treasurer, Ranjan Dar of India as Secretary, and Augusto Noguera of Macau as Board Member. Phaidon Kalotarakis of Greece and Aloysius A.J. Joseph of New York were named as our advisors. During the 27th WFTC conference held in Bangkok at that same time, the FTCA was recognized by the WFTC General Assembly as Asia's representative. As of today, the FTCA has 21 organization members and 14 individual members. One of FTCA's main goals is to train and educate its members on the proper implementation of the Therapeutic Community Program. Hence, a training center was envisioned for this purpose. On August 2019, SELF, in collaboration with Kasimulia of Indonesia, inaugurated the Monsignor William O'Brien and Father Lamberto Somar building, which houses the International Institute of Therapeutic Communities, or IITC, that serves as the training arm of the FTCA. In that very period, actually right after the inauguration, the FTCA held its first international conference in the training center on August 21 to 22, 2019. 5 TC luminaries from around the world flew to Manila and shared their knowledge and expertise on the model in 7 plenaries and workshops. All told, the groundwork to promote the TC in Asia was firmly laid. I go now to the FTCA alliance with EFTC. FTCA officers Father Lamberto Somar, Augusto Noguera, and myself attended the 17th European Federation of Therapeutic Communities Conference in Greece in September 2019. At the closing ceremonies, incoming EFTC President Phaedon of Kathea, Greece, who is an officer or an advisor of the FTCA, gave me a few minutes to report on the successful inauguration of the training center. And I presented a 5-minute video which featured the Training Institute and footages of the FTCA inaugural conference. Some EFTC members expressed their interest in joining future trainings in the IITC in the Philippines. In an ensuing meeting, the EFTC board unanimously agreed to make FTCA a sister agency. And it was a great honor for the FTCA, and we look forward to future collaborations with the European TCs. Right, Phaedon?
Yes.
Okay.
Likewise.
Now, FTCA during the pandemic. As you can see, we just formed the FTCA, one little conference, and then pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic derailed our plans for undertaking training conferences and workshops. However, we made a determined effort to keep in touch with our members. From 2020 to 2022, we ran a total of 6 online gatherings via Zoom. For those 2 years, we also suspended the membership dues. The first webinar was entitled Thesis in Asia, of course in the context of COVID-19, in July 28 of 2020. The event was moderated by FTCA board member Augusto Noguera of ARTM Macau. I welcomed a total of 63 participants and reported on how SELF had been coping with the pandemic. Dhaka Asanya Mission Director Iqbal Masood of Bangladesh and Benghazi President Ramli Samad of Malaysia followed with their own accounts. A highlight of the webinar was the presentation by Karen Peters of UNODC, where she warned us about the proliferation of compulsory drug detention centers, guised as treatment and rehabilitation centers. In closing, EFTC President Phaedon shared insights on how TCs could adapt to the new normal. The webinar was a success, and I assured everyone that more such events will follow. So on the second webinar, we called it The Impact of COVID-19. This time, the event was moderated by FTCA advisor Phaedon Kalotarakis of Kathea, Greece. Thank you again, Phaedon. Always being there for us, including myself. The speakers were Samaritan Data Training Aloysius Joseph of New York, KMF Program Director Eddie Wanda of Indonesia, and re-entry resident Akash Sharma of Shafa Home, India. 3 family association members also spoke. Okay, J.N. Salwaturiachi of Mitru movement in Sri Lanka, Vikas Dixit of Shafa Home, India, and Dr. Ricardo Vasquez of SELF, Philippines. The speakers discussed how TCs across Asia have risen to the challenges brought about by the pandemic and its impact on the families. Then another conference was held. This time we called it our first FTCA virtual conference in June 7 of 2021. The FTCA Executive Council decided to hold a virtual conference so members could get to know one another better. In this format, an invitation to register as a presenter was sent to all FTCA members, and those who registered were given a chance to introduce themselves, their organizations, and their programs. A total of 13 responded and took turns as speakers in the 2-hour event. As usual, I hosted the virtual conference while FTCA advisor Phaedon Kalotarakis served as the moderator, with FTCA advisor Aloysius Joseph serving as rapporteur. All told, 51 practitioners from various organizations in Asia and the world attended. Then we held something different. We called it now the FTCA Consultation Hour Series, in fulfillment of our mission, helping each other help others. 3 consultation hours were held. Questions about the challenges in running TC programs in Asia were solicited from the members, and a panel of experts responded. The first consultation hour was on TC practices, October 30, 2021. The FTCA launched this premier edition, which addressed queries regarding TC practices, and it featured a videotape addressed by none other than Dr. George De Leon. The second consultation hour was entitled TC Program and the Families, February 12, 2022. The FTCA held the second of the series that was moderated again by Advisor Faidon. During this forum, questions on the modifications in the program and the TC tools were discussed, along with the important role of the families in the recovery of residents. And finally, a third consultation hour was held. There were 3 because there were so many questions, we had to categorize them and divide them into 3. This one was entitled Dual Diagnosed in the TC, July 23, 2022, so not too long ago. This time, the panel responded to questions regarding dual diagnosed patients with mental health conditions. So for this, psychiatrists with extensive involvement in the TC discussed the prevailing conditions. Some TC graduates with comorbidities also shared their journey of recovery. So future steps. The FTCA will focus on 2 major thrusts. The first is to continue promoting the TC approach and expand its membership. The second is to provide training on the modern model for TCs in Asia. God willing, there is a plan to hold the second FTCA conference in Manila in June 2023. So that is my report of the FTCA. Thank you very much.